Hello and welcome. This is Melanie. Thanks for joining us for Girlfriends Happy Hour. Ashley's back in the lounge this week, along with our special guest, my good friend Thomas. We would love for you to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at GF Happy Hour Pod, and please head on over to iTunes, click subscribe, and go ahead and leave us a 5-star review. Special thanks and a shout out this week to Liz Killips for your kind review. You wanted to hear more spooky stories. Well, have we got a couple good ones for you. So come on in and join us. We saved a seat at the bar for you. Who wants to open us up?
I guess I can. What do you want said?
Say whatever the fuck you want to say. I don't care.
Then I will. That's how I'm going to open it. It's the Monica Show. Hi. Starring Monica.
Isn't every day the Monica Show?
Pretty much.
Monica?
In my mind, it is, yeah.
Well, here we are. We're back in the podcast lounge.
Yes, we are. Stop playing with your necklace there, young lady.
I've got a lot of
Trying to
jewelry
show
on
off her
today.
new jewelry. I see it. It's beautiful.
And we have Ashley back with us this week.
Yes.
Hello, I am back.
After a
We
week's
missed you.
absence.
Back.
Oh,
We missed you so much.
I missed you guys too.
Yeah. And
busy.
we
Sure.
have another very special, we have a very special
Yes.
guest with us today.
fun.
Thomas is here.
Hi.
Hi, Thomas. Welcome to the lounge.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What do you think?
I like it.
You like it? Is it
It's
comfy?
nice. It is.
Yeah?
It's
You
nice.
like all the we have lots of throw pillows. in the
Everything you
lounge.
dreamed it
I
would
love-
be. And more.
From the
And
book.
more.
Yep.
I love the writing from the book on the pillows and
Mhm.
everything.
Well,
We're
so
glad you're here.
you're here. Thomas and I have been in real estate together. That's where we met.
Mhm.
And we've been friends for, I don't know, 3-4 years, however long.
Four. It's been 4 years since I came to KW. So
Really?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
4 years. And we do happy hours together, and we have a lot of fun together. And he was telling us that he had I told him about the podcast, and he was one of the first ones when he started listening, and all of a sudden I get a text out of the blue, and he's like, I'm listening to your podcast, and I love it, and I'm laughing, and then he would randomly text me like where he was at, and he was like, you're talking about this right now, and it was really funny.
fantastic.
Oh, that's fun.
That's
And I was
fun.
like, you want to be a guest on our podcast one day? And he's like, sure. So here he is, finally.
Finally.
Yay.
Yay. Anyway, we have some cocktails today.
Mm-hmm. Not like we don't every day.
Right? It's
So, not like it's an unusual thing. It's mostly a demanded thing. We're gonna record the podcast. Okay, you better have drinks for us. You are making a lot of
I know.
tingling
There's
noises.
A lot of tingling.
Jingle.
Okay, Coco Chanel said, whenever you're going out and you're wearing jewelry, take off the last piece you put on. You just took off like your entire jewelry box.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. I was just all jingling. Okay. So our cocktail today is, it's a little bit different. It's called a fire shock.
Really?
Is that what I taste?
That's what you taste.
Okay.
It is made with vodka and Fireball
Yeah.
and homemade lemonade. I made homemade from scratch with organic sugar and organic lemons.
Wow.
We're all fancy here.
Look at you go.
Wow.
And Ashley, to welcome you back, do you see the special addition to your glass?
A sugar rim.
A sugar rim
Duh.
just for you.
Less
know
sugar
how I
for you
do.
because you're back.
Ashley's favorite.
Yeah.
And so it's basically 1 ounce of vodka. I use Tito's again, Ashley.
I
her
love
favorite.
Tito's.
I like
So,
Tito's.
Yep.
Welcome back this week.
Well, geez, thanks.
And we're like, don't ever leave us again.
I guess not. You're like, I brought all your favorite things. Please don't leave.
I had to put up with Monica like
Just
the
the
whole
two
time.
of us. It was
Must have been terrible.
could have spiraled out of control. You never know.
And so I poured it over ice in the Bell canning jars just for fun. It's
very
just
good.
fun to do a twist on the glass. So everyone, let's cheers and let's taste them.
Ba-boom. Okay.
They
Doesn't
don't-
really
they don't,
ting. It's more of a
clink.
clunk.
Yeah. you know, I was like, there's something in there, and I thought it was cinnamon, but I wasn't sure. I like that a lot.
I do too.
And
good
there is
combo.
a reason for the name of the cocktail. I did put vodka in it because I asked Thomas, I said, what do you like to drink? And he said, well, I do like vodka. So I said, okay.
Who doesn't?
So we have to come up with a vodka drink, and we'll find out later why it's got some fire in it.
Yep.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yes. So, Ashley, what were you doing last week that you couldn't even join us?
Oh man, I was doing a million things. I was prepping for a shoot. We filmed for the film that you guys were extras in. We filmed last weekend, all weekend. So I was kind of prepping for that. I was doing a little bit of writing. I had to do some location scouting. I did a bunch of things, and I was just all over the place last week. So I wasn't able to join the ladies, but But
Good for you
my
and your
life is so boring.
no,
yeah, I know,
no,
right?
not at all. No.
Locations.
No, but yeah, but we had a great time filming over the weekend. It's coming together well, I think. I don't know how far we are really into the film. We might maybe have shot maybe a quarter of it at this point.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well,
but we'll
it's
see.
a long film. We'll
It's a
remind
feature.
Thomas and our friends.
Yes, Thomas. It's a feature film. It's the first feature film that we for Light in the Attic Films, the film company I'm a part of. It's our first feature film, so we're kind of excited, and it's a big project, the biggest one we've done yet. But it's fun. It's awesome.
Cool.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
I saw Melanie just actually shared the video, the short film.
Short film, Smoke Break.
Yes.
Yep. So that just came out today. I know.
Exciting.
Perfect timing, I guess,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
this. But
Yeah.
so that we filmed that last September.
Okay.
Before or after Tracker?
After.
After. Okay.
Yep. Trekker we filmed in March, I
Okay.
believe. And
Love
then-
that one.
Yep. So Smoke Break was kind of a quick idea. Dave wrote it, he's like, we need to do something else. He wrote this short little film.
It's so
and
sweet.
yeah, it was a cute little one.
Yeah.
And we
I like
filmed
it.
We filmed everything in a day except for the beach scene. We had to film a different day
Right.
just because we had to drive a little
You
bit.
didn't get to
but-
use the beaches of Lansing?
No, we used the beaches of where were we? We were near Detroit. I can't remember.
Oh,
where we were.
really?
St. Clair.
St. Clair?
St. Clair. Yeah.
Oh,
St. Clair.
okay.
Very nice.
So for anyone who's not in Michigan, Michigan is a absolutely beautiful state, full
Yes.
of beaches and mountains and forests and all kinds of wonderful things. But we're right smack in the middle, so it is a little bit of a drive
Yes.
Yeah.
To a great lake.
to a great
Yeah.
lake.
But otherwise, they say if you live in Michigan, you're never more than 20 minutes from a lake.
Mm-hmm.
But not,
Yeah.
not the great
Well,
one.
I remember, I think when you said you were shooting that beach scene, it was
Yes.
really cold, right?
It was windy, but it wasn't.
Oh,
It was
okay.
actually a nice day. Not like I didn't want to wear a bikini, so we kind of went with what we had. Like
and
I
you
was in a dress.
disappointed all of
I know
Yeah.
it.
the people watching.
Well, just wait for the new film. No, I'm just
Oh.
kidding. Just kidding.
Oh, and good for you. You mentioned that you were writing because on our New Year's episode, we were talking about resolutions.
Yes, I have. I have a complete idea at this point. I've outlined it with basically like bullet points of scenes. I haven't sat down to actually write it, but I'm trying to figure out what process works best for me, as far as just how to be a writer and how to write script format. So I'm kind of playing around with it. I'm doing like a little sketching too because I have certain like visuals in my head that I know I want to do. So I'm kind of trying to like create my own storyboards as I go instead of doing it at the end, just because I know there's certain scenes that I want to have already. So that's
I
Wow.
totally forgot you were an artist too.
yeah. I mean,
I
think
remember
I think
some
art in
drawings.
general.
Mhm.
I'm creative. I like to be creative.
What is
so.
your zodiac sign?
Gemini?
Okay. Just wondering.
What are you? Oh, I know what you are.
Well, I don't. What are you?
Yeah,
I'm,
what are
I'm a bossy Leo.
Leo.
That one's easy. What are you, Thomas?
Cancer.
Cancer.
Oh, that's what my husband is Cancer.
Mhm.
I get I get along with Cancers.
Are you?
My son and my sister.
Are you Sagittarius or Aquarius?
Sagittarius.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There we are. We all know our zodiac.
And now we know.
signs. The more you know.
Well, yeah.
And shooting star.
The more you know.
Thomas, do you do anything artistic like drawing and things like that, or
My
no?
only art was hair.
Hair.
When I did hair.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
Thomas did
That is an
did
art.
good hair.
I'll tell you what.
That is the only
Yeah.
time I was able to I can't draw. I can't sing. I can't nothing.
Yeah.
Nope, but I could do some hair here and there.
Hey,
so.
that's awesome.
Well,
Mhm.
it is an art. I went to cosmetology school and I went through the classroom and I'm like, I love this. This is amazing. And I got out on the floor and I got like my first client. I'm supposed to be doing something to her hair and I just froze and I was petrified. And I think I only got through maybe a couple weeks of that. And I'm like, no, this isn't for me. It's just
One of
too
my
stressful.
very first clients on the floor was a 5-hour full makeover. She had just divorced her partner of like, I don't know, a while. And she's just wanted a makeover. So she came in, we did a whole shebang. I mean, makeover down to like manicure, pedicure, the whole shebang. 5 hours.
Nice.
I was terrified.
Yeah.
Terrified.
Holy
At the
cow.
end, did
Oh
you
my
feel
gosh.
like you accomplished something
I
so huge,
did.
though?
I did. We took a
You'd have
lot
to.
off. Like it was a whole transfer. It was really cool, but it was
Like
Oh.
one of those where you almost wanted to do a reveal.
that.
And here she is now.
Yeah, I was still just starting out, so she probably thought, "Oh, this is nice, but it could be better." But still, I mean, for me, it was like, "Wow,
Huge.
That's
Big deal.
amazing.
Yep.
I think I would want to get divorced just to have a 5-hour makeover.
Just can you imagine that? Wow.
Make me over.
It'd be awesome.
Thomas and I are realtors together. So I put together some fun little real estate facts and trivia for us to play around with. And Monica, you're not allowed to answer this question because when I was putting it together, I remembered you did the same trivia question on your morning show
Oh, okay.
a couple months ago or something. So
Okay.
I'm going to ask Ashley and Thomas
I'm
here.
not going to know the answer. Go ahead.
Oh no.
You might. It'll be fun. It'll be a good guess.
Okay.
So, what do you think the average number of times a person in the U.S. is expected to move in their lifetime?
7. If I remember.
6.
Maybe.
Price is right.
Well, I was going to say if you add them together,
Oh.
but no, if you add them together, you're close. 11.4.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
How many times have
Well,
you guys?
All right, now I gotta do
Jeez.
this in my head really quick. 1. Okay, that's not in my head. Sorry.
One. I was.
I'm
born.
actually probably at 7, if not a couple more already. Now that I think about it.
Okay. I had to do like little check marks and think about it, and I was at 19.
Jeez.
So then I decided to break it down. And after I moved out of my parents and I was on my own, I moved 7 times because I moved to college and then I moved kind of apartment hopped a little bit. So I moved in with different people. But then since I've been married, I've moved 5 times.
So what do you have for your grand total then?
19.
I'm at
Wow.
14.
Does it count when you move out of your mom's house and then move back into your mom's house and then move out
Yes.
again?
That's why I'm over 7.
Yeah. I feel ya. I am.
You're still moving, right?
That's
Packing up
true,
your
yeah.
stuff?
That's true.
Yeah.
It was still a pain in the ass, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah.
Boy, was it. Yeah, I think I'm about 7 or 8.
Okay.
Wait, I'm changing. 15. I just forgot one place. 15.
Okay.
So,
All right. So who wins? The one who's moved the most or the least? Probably the least.
I don't know. The most you're experiencing different things.
I
would
know,
say-
but it's moving.
Well, the
So-
person who
That's
moves the
true.
least is still stuck in their parents' house. So I'm
Yeah.
good with moving a few times. So
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
true.
Mhm.
Very true.
Well, and every time I move, I throw away things that I don't need, so I have less and less
yeah.
miscellaneous,
Pretty soon, you'll
useless
just need a
items.
duffel
So
bag
like a
and a
purging
pillow.
time.
listen, that's where I'm at, and I don't
Or
mind
a
it.
stick with like a.
Like a hobo stick.
Yes.
I have a bandana if you need one. You can,
I'll take it. Hop a train, see where it takes me.
There you
Yep.
go. There you
Sounds
go.
Perfect. I moved in with 7 guys in this house in East Lansing.
I remember that story.
I also lived in another house with 5 guys. I tell you what, though, those were the best. I felt like
I
had
agree.
all these big brothers.
I agree.
They were all protective of
Yep.
me. The one house, he had a dog who would come upstairs and eat my cat's poop out of the litter box, so I never had to change the litter
Well,
box.
nice.
That's
There you go.
nice.
Perfect.
There
Yeah.
you go. An
So
auto
it was
scooper.
perfect.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
So here's a fun fact about mortgages. Do you know that the word mortgage literally means pledge to the death?
That makes it
Accurate,
sound
okay.
even worse.
They're already terrified.
I know.
So yeah, it started with Latin and then it was translated into Old French. And here's another fact that you should know. Your housing costs should be no more than 30% of your household income. So yeah, if you're looking to move and you're like, should I be able to afford this next house?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Just take your income, divide by 3 and
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like it's more.
Well, that's
That
just your
would put-
housing.
should be.
That's not like
just
you know,
That
like
would
your
put me in
household
a
budget.
box
Oh, I see,
behind
I see.
Sears or something, an empty refrigerator box.
Here's a trivia question. Who do you think is the largest individual landowner in the United States?
Ted Turner?
That's right, Monica. Ding,
Thank
ding,
you.
ding. I still got to get that bell.
Yeah, ding,
Remember,
ding.
I
Yeah.
need a buzzer and a
Yeah,
bell.
yep.
Good job, Monica.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you
have no
very
idea
much.
on that one. No clue.
Who's Ted Turner?
Yep. And,
Yeah.
No, I'm not kidding. I don't
Oh,
know who that is.
you don't know?
No, I have no idea.
Oh,
He's the one who started TBS, Turner Broadcasting
So like
System.
Turner Classic Movies.
Turner Classic.
See, I was
Okay.
assuming
Yeah.
that was it, but I
Okay.
Yeah.
wasn't sure. So
He was married to his last person he was married to was Jane Fonda. They were
Yeah,
married for
okay.
many years.
he founded
Okay.
CNN.
Mm-hmm. He used to race in the America's Cup. He's a big deal.
He's got like an 8.4 billion net worth or something.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Good lord.
I
Yeah.
wish.
Yeah.
And it all started, his dad took his own life. And his dad had a billboard company, and that's how it all started, with
Oh,
a
wow.
billboard company. Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty amazing.
Well, he owns 2.1 million acres.
Mm-hmm.
And I like this one. So Warren Buffett, who has an estimated net worth of $71.8 billion, still lives in the house he bought in 1958 for, can you guess how much? About?
Yeah, it was like, what was it, around 19 or 22,000, somewhere in that range?
Anyone else have a guess?
I'm just assuming Monica's right at this point. But
I'm going with 15.
I want to go back and say, don't always assume Monica's right.
Oh, listen, but I just watched her her body movements, and she was real sure of herself when she said that. So, but I'll say 25,000 just to throw something out there.
It was 31.5.
And you know what's cute too? He's got all the money in the world, but every morning his wife puts money out for him, and he goes to McDonald's. And someone said, "Well, what do you get?" He goes, "It depends on how much money she leaves me."
Yeah.
But he eats
so
at
cute.
McDonald's every morning. Yeah,
I love him. Do you watch interviews with him? Oh, he's just the best.
he's ruthless, but the best. I remember
Wow.
when my mom and dad, well, I don't remember, but they had told me when they bought the house that I grew up in Owasso, they paid $19,000 for it.
Wow. So then I wanted to pull up some spooky things. So I have a multiple choice question for you. And I actually said this on one of our previous episodes, but I was wrong.
Okay.
So, so now I have the right answer. Okay. So in what state is it a legal requirement for a seller to disclose if a property is believed to be haunted? Is it Texas, New York, Louisiana, or California?
I'm going with Louisiana.
I like Louisiana too.
I'm gonna say Texas.
Oh,
It's actually New York.
Really
weird.
I said
You said
that's why you're
Texas.
thinking of it.
That
'cause I
might be
said
why I'm
Texas.
thinking of it.
I
Yep.
was thinking
New York.
Louisiana because of the whole voodoo and
Exactly.
all that jazz. Like
Yeah.
you'd think.
And that's what I thought. Ghosts just,
Yeah.
just gonna hang around. Not gonna go anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna hang around.
New Orleans is the most haunted city in America.
Believe that.
I want to go.
Mhm.
Oh, it's a
I know. I
blast.
want to go
Never
there.
been.
Me too. I want to
I
go
think
so
it'd be
bad.
Been there a couple times.
I think
It's
when we
fun.
start going on the road, we're going to hit the Winchester House. We're going to go to Nolans.
Mm,
Is that how you're supposed to say
Not
it?
really, no.
Nolans.
No, how do you say it?
New Orleans. They don't even say it that way down there. I said it once, and they looked at me like I was like, "I'm sorry," because I said, "Is that how you say it?" And they're like, she just looked at me with this disdained look. No, we say New Orleans. I'm like, okay, sorry.
Did you guys know that our Lansing Capitol building is believed to be haunted?
I've heard that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Have you gone on tours of it? It's very beautiful.
It is.
When
yes.
I was a kid.
I was gonna say I chaperoned
I
as
don't
when
think
my
I
kids
ever
went.
have gone there. Surprisingly, I should.
Pretty cool. You should go see it
Yeah.
sometime.
You guys
It's-
ever been to the Turner Dodge House?
Yes.
That one's.
I've had a
so
party. I've
haunted.
had a party there before. and
That
it
place
was,
I get claustrophobic in because there's just so many little rooms. You know.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
ugh, I don't like it.
What year was that built? Anyone know?
Oh, I have no idea.
Like hundreds of years
Well,
ago.
it-
Sorry, it took us off track.
Yeah, it's had to have been like late 1800s, I would almost think.
I mean,
don't
yeah,
you?
it's old.
Yeah.
And it's really old. I
Mhm.
don't know.
The Capitol building is believed to have been haunted by a spirit of a man who was killed while painting the rotunda. People have felt cold spots, cold winds. They've seen an apparition on the rotunda walkway in painter's attire.
Oh wow.
Interesting.
Turner Dodge House was built in 1855.
Thank you, Ashley
off
and
by a
Google.
couple-
Right. Google.
yeah,
Years.
say that's all Google.
Well, Thomas had a story.
Oh, I can't wait to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a ghost story?
Kind of. It's a Ouija board story, actually.
Ooh, we like Ouija board
Yeah.
stories.
Okay.
Yep.
That's actually what made me reach right out to Melanie as soon as I heard your guys' Halloween episode. I was like, oh my goodness.
Where
this
I
is
had my
awesome.
Ouija board story too.
Yes.
Eek.
And the college student and the house with
That
like the one
was-
down in the basement that got all
Yes.
sick and
Yep.
that's
My friend Emily's
crazy.
story.
That's nuts.
Tell us your story,
Yeah.
Thomas.
So, it wasn't actually super long ago. I was an adult. Some friends and I were playing with a Ouija board on Halloween night, actually.
Well, that's smart.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, and I knew it's fine. It's totally fine.
Okay.
So, we were playing with the Ouija board Halloween night. It was it was getting dark. We didn't wait until the whole midnight witching hour thing or anything like that, but we were all just sitting around playing with the Ouija board. And
How many?
There's 4 of us.
Okay.
There's 4 of us.
So set the scene. Like, where were you at?
We're in
I
a
wanna know.
basement.
Oh,
God.
for God's
Yup.
sake,
Of
no!
course. Yes, of course. You can't just do it in a living room. That's not fun. Like, I have to be in a creepy basement.
At least he
of
didn't say
course.
we were in a cemetery sitting
Yeah.
on a grave.
Yeah.
Oh,
That would just be
different
one
stories.
thing.
Different stories. No. So no, we were in a basement. We were around a table. Just I think it was actually just a poker table, I believe, but it was flipped over, so it was
Okay.
soft or hard top. And we had the Ouija board out. We had a couple candles lit off to the side so we could see because we had the lights off. Well, of course, you can't do it with lights on. It doesn't.
You have
work.
to do it with candles.
Yeah,
I attained to this fact.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. So we're all sitting there, and we start. We do a little protect us type thing. We have some sage burning, stuff like that, making sure that we're not opening too much craziness. Because I've always been a big firm believer in ghosts, spirits, demons, the whole shebang.
Mm-hmm.
So we burned a little sage, sat there, played with it for a little bit, and finally it started doing its normal stuff that you normally get. Bad stuff's gonna happen, blah, 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 demon, blah, 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 all that stuff. You just you ignore some of that stuff and you try to find someone that actually wants to
Ignore
talk.
demon.
No,
Right there. Red
we were
flag.
looking for someone who was actually going to communicate with us instead of just coming up with destruction and blah, all that crap.
Right.
So, but eventually they kept saying fire, 9:30, fire. It's like, okay, whatever, fire. There's no fire. We're not outside. Nothing like that's happening. So I think we actually stopped. We ended up just sitting down in the basement, hanging out, and we decided to go look at what time it was. Went upstairs. It was about 8:15, 8:20. Or, I'm sorry, 9:15, 9:20. So I was like, oh, look, it's almost 9:30.
Giggle,
We go back
giggle,
downstairs.
Chuckle, chuckle.
Yeah. So we go back downstairs, and I kind of messed around with the Ouija board a little bit. And do you know that sound that you hear when a grill or you light a fire with lighter fluid? You hear that noise?
Yes.
Yeah. So we hear that, look over, and a friend of mine is actually on fire. His shirt is completely engulfed on one side of his. It's like a button up that he had on, and it was on fire. Yeah. So we just kind of ripped the shirt off him and stomped it out on the thing and closed the circle and just walked away for the night. We were pretty much done at that point.
Wait, was he near a candle?
No, he was not, because we made sure of that. Because you hear it, you kind of go, really, and because I'm a firm believer, but I will rule out things that could potentially make it not something that's. But if I can't make sense of it, I know exactly what it was. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, just no candle. They were all around the outside of us. We were nowhere near them. We were around the table. We had one in the middle, but the table was large enough that you couldn't reach it with what we were doing. So yeah.
Yeah.
Was
really
he hurt? Did
no,
you catch it in
no,
time?
he was
and-
totally fine. Well, as
He
soon as
was
we heard
freaked
that
out.
ignition, I
Yeah.
mean, you hear, we
Yeah.
literally heard it. So
Yeah.
we just turned and saw the flames and stomped out the shirt and called it a night.
Yeah.
So anytime you might invite Thomas over for a barbecue and, just light the grill
Watch out.
before he comes because
Yeah.
he'll freak out.
Just watch out. The ignition sounds a little disturbing still. So
Yeah, he's got a little PTSD.
Yeah.
I will probably
It
after
was-
hearing this now. Like,
it was
yeah.
definitely something that, I mean, I've seen some different things over the years and stuff, but that was definitely something I hadn't expected from just a Ouija board experience. So.
You know what's weird? As I reflect back on my childhood, One year for Christmas, when I was like 10 years old, my parents gave me a Ouija board.
Well, yeah, because it was.
It was like the big
Parker
Parker
Brothers.
Brothers or something.
It's just a board game.
It's just a game.
It's a
And now
game.
I'm like, what the hell were you thinking? You know, I could have been taken down by a demon.
Did anything else happen after that? Was the only big thing?
Honestly, when I was a teenager, I kind of started looking into Wicca and all of that. I never really grew up in the churches or anything like that, but I wanted something. I wanted some sort of spirituality, so I started reaching it. I really liked it.
That's more the white magic, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's nature. Just live by nature.
Okay.
Karmic law, do unto others. Send out whatever you send out comes back times 3. So you want to make sure you're sending out good karma to people and doing good
which
deeds.
is a good way to live, anyways.
Exactly. So, I've always kind of seen weird little things. I mean, from shadows in the basements to things. My mom always told me when I was younger, we had a ghost in our apartment in Morris.
What?
Yeah, she would flicker lights and turn off the TV when my mom was home alone, and I would stare off at the. I remember what she would tell me. I would stare off at the staircase that went up to the single bedroom to my playroom.
Okay.
I would just stare off at the staircase and for no reason, just glaring over there. I remember a story about my mom's roommate that lived up in that room for a little while. She woke up to someone standing over her, and then
Okay,
blinked and
that to
gone,
me is like the
so-
creepiest thing that can happen.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's really funny because I started researching and looking into this stuff when I was a teenager, and as a kid I was actually afraid of the dark. I still sort of get a little weirded out in the dark. I mean, I don't sleep with a TV on or a nightlight anymore or anything like that. But I mean, I used to have a TV on and something going because I watched too many scary movies as a kid. But yeah, so then I got into that, and some random weird things would happen here and there. But I just kind of move on from there.
Right.
And now that I've gotten older, I don't really do it as I still go by the natural law and try to do the whole karma thing still, but otherwise I don't really pick out those things any longer.
Yeah.
I think I would be scarred after that. I don't know. That's terrifying to me.
Yeah. Well, when I'm in bed, I like it dark. Like if I have everything shut and all the doors shut and everything dark. But what I don't like is if my room's dark and then I have maybe say the door open and you can just kind of see a shadowy doorway.
Oh,
Or the blinds open. I hate sleeping with the blinds open, even though like on the second floor. That's even scarier because if you saw something outside your window on the second floor.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
yeah.
Like in the Lost Boys.
Oh,
Michael.
yes.
he's
Yeah.
floating outside the window. Star or whatever.
I like having a fan to sleep at least, so that I
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
hear the little creaks in the
Right.
house.
Yeah.
Because then I
Yes,
do
wind.
start to I let my mind race. Like, what's that?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's happening?
I had looked it up a while ago. There's like almost, I think it said 69 movies and TV shows that depict Ouija board usage. That's a lot. I didn't
That's a
realize
lot, yeah.
it.
Did you guys see that Ouija movie, the newest one or whatever that was?
Within the last couple of years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Didn't I thought we all and like
That was
you
really
guys are shaking
terrifying.
your head.
Nope,
Okay.
I haven't seen any of them. Any
I
of the
neither.
Ouija board
Terrifying.
movies.
Who did I see it with then? You're my scary movie crew?
I don't know.
I don't
Wow.
know.
Must have
It's probably on like a movie channel or something. They played it on HBO over and over again for a while. So
Well, I wouldn't have watched it by myself. I know
Oh.
I watched it with a group, and I thought it was because these guys are usually like my scary movie,
Gotcha.
along with a few other people, so they must not have been there.
Nope.
Did you ever hear about like the demon Zozo
Yes.
that is attached to the Ouija board?
I think isn't that what they called it in The Exorcist? Or wasn't it mentioned in The
In The
Exorcist?
Oh, I don't
Exorcist,
know.
Or they called it
was-
something else.
It was it was
Pazuzu.
Pazuzu. And,
Okay.
and
That
I knew
was in The
I was
Exorcist?
the Z. I was like, I know it's
Yes.
something with a Z, but yeah.
So yeah,
Pazuzu.
apparently they're different demons, but they get mixed up a lot. So yeah, like Zozo supposedly appears during Ouija board sessions, and some of the warning signs.
Okay.
Like we talked about this before, but like when it starts doing like the figure 8 and doing the jerky movements and stuff, it'll start spelling out his name like ZOZO.
Yeah.
It says, if you start having feelings of unease. Well, yeah, don't you have that when
Yeah, you're playing with a Ouija board. You're
in the
uneasy
dark.
the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It said if you see shadows or the room darkening.
Just run.
Yeah, just
If
run.
your candles blow out, get out.
Exactly. Knock your friends over. Just get out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
They've mentioned it before too in Ghost Adventures. Whenever
maybe
they'll
that's-
do EVP sessions, like who's in the room, and you'll hear Elsie. So that's like
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But they say you should just keep calm because the evil spirits feed off of your fear.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not supposed to speak his name either.
Oh,
Well,
thank
that's-
you for telling us.
I
After
was
the
gonna
whole
say
day of the day.
We've all been sitting here
He
saying
who
so.
must not be named.
That's
Yeah.
what we that's what we always did. Anytime if somebody was uneasy, before we started, we would start a session, we would say, just stay calm. If anybody's like feeling uneasy or something, just give us a signal and we'll calmly close the session, walk away from the board, take the planchette away, and then if you want to like freak out a little bit, then go do your
Then
thing.
you
But,
can do.
but
freak out.
that's what was our rules. Like, just be calm. We'll close it out nicely. Don't just run away. Don't just leave the planchette on the board, and we'll go from there. So that was always our rule.
Yeah. Well, those are good
creepy.
rules.
I thought so. I thought so.
How about,
Close
as
the
Monica would say, the
circle.
better
Yeah,
rule
close
would
the
be
circle.
just stay away from the Ouija board.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much my motto.
So there's this guy. He was made famous for bringing Zozo to the forefront or whatever. He started this blog in 2008, I think. He was like obsessed with Led Zeppelin. You know, the cover of Led Zeppelin has like that symbol on it. He's got a bunch of videos on YouTube, and I was watching him a little bit. He was on an episode of Ghost Adventures about 3 years ago. Oh, and they did a movie called I Am Zozo in 2012. So
Never
that
heard
would
of
be
that.
a creepy one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's also a book, The Zozo Phenomenon. That was just in 2016.
Isn't it weird how it seems like nowadays there's more and more talk about it, about ghosts and demons and all that. And there's so many different
Yes.
TV shows on it and podcasts. And it's like, I don't know, why is it so prevalent in society now?
I think we go through phases.
Like it's cyclical? Because it used to be in the Victorian age, it was a big thing, you know?
I think definitely depending on what is popular in our pop culture at the time. Like right now, I feel like all the true crime, after certain things come out and then it blows up and it's a huge thing, and then that'll probably fade away, and then something else will come through, and it just cyclical, like you said.
Creepy.
On this podcast, we talk about a lot of different things, and we try to focus on something each episode. So we're focusing on spooky stuff today. So I got a whole bunch of books, but this one is called Haunted Michigan. And it was published in 2000. So, I mean, it's a little old, but I mean, not too bad. But
the ghosts are older. Ha.
Yeah. Well, this Reverend Gerald S. Hunter.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
I saw this meme the other day that said something along the lines of like, why are ghosts always from the 1700s? Why can't they be from like 2012 and just be like, it's Britney, bitch. Like, like why are all ghosts like old? But how funny is that? Yeah. Like, we always like, ghosts are just always from the Victorian era. They're never like from the other day. Or,
The other day.
Exactly. One little excerpt from the foreword. He says, I grew up in a haunted house. Encountering spirits and finding yourself privy to their shenanigans on an almost daily basis for several years tends to open one's mind to the possibility that we are not always alone within the confines of our happy homes.
Must have not been too bad of a haunting if he refers to it as shenanigans.
Yeah.
He says, one comes to believe that our world is both material and ethereal, a mysterious blend of objective reality and subjective experience. So he wrote this book, and it was kind of like what you just said, Ashley, where he's like, well, you hear all these old hauntings. I want to find out about new hauntings. So he was looking up things that were still going on to this day, not like, oh, there was this haunting years and years ago. And one of the stories in this book just kind of struck me. I really liked it. He's got all these different chapters, and again, it's called Haunted Michigan, so it's all in Michigan. This one's called The Old Man in the Corner, and it is It says police visited a single-family dwelling on North Harrison Street in Ludington, Michigan.
Oh.
And I chose it because Thomas spends a lot of time in Ludington.
I love
And
Ludington.
I know Monica and we have
Yep.
a really good friend lives in
Yeah.
Ludington, and we spend some time there. So I really like this story. And next time we're up there, I want to drive down Harrison Street
Oh,
and
yeah.
try to guess which house it was.
There's a lot of those older looking Victorian
Yes.
houses that you would just
Yeah.
assume that they
Yeah.
that they
Just
that they're
assume they're
haunted.
haunted.
Yep.
On it. Yep.
It says the period of the haunting was 1995 to present. So I'm assuming these people purchased the house in 95, the ones he interviewed, and present being it was published in 2000.
Right.
So,
Right.
the date of his investigation was December of 98. He describes the location. So for, again, those of you who are not from this area, Ludington is a town that is snug up against the shores of Lake Michigan,
It's
a
beautiful.
vacationer's dream.
Yep. It's beautiful.
Oh, and then another fun thing he does in this book is he has a haunt meter. He's got up to 5 stars, 1 star being a pretty lame haunting, not worthy of my efforts or your time. So he's basically, I don't think there's any of those in
I was going to say
here.
there wouldn't be any.
He says the ghosts are there, but the scares aren't. So none of those in there either. So 3 stars is a good haunting, some chills and goosebumps. 4 stars, don't enter these places alone, eerie and lots of activity. And then 5 stars says, watch your backside, macabre and downright frightening.
Okay.
So this story is a 4.5 star.
Okay.
And it is pretty creepy.
Okay.
So he's changed the names. So we'll go ahead and use his pseudonyms here. Bob and Kay Irwin. He says they have a good life with their children. I don't know how many children they have. He says they provided for them very well. They have a wonderful old house where they've crafted their memories and cast forth their dreams. He writes a really nice story in these. So they've always been the kind of family where all the kids hang out. They invite people in. There's always, guests and people around. And he says, as receptive as they've always been, they were nonetheless apprehensive about a new visitor who showed up one spring afternoon, an elderly man who would suddenly materialize in the living room only to inexplicably vanish before their wondering eyes.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Bob says the first time it happened, he was just sitting on the couch watching the Tigers. Kay had gone to the grocery store. The kids were outside playing. So all of a sudden, he had a strong feeling he was being watched.
That's got to be creepy.
Yes. Do you feel? I feel that a lot, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Especially sometimes I'll be sitting in here like editing our podcast and like listening to some of our spooky stories, and I'll be like, because I got the headphones on, so I'll jerk around and look behind me. I'm like, is there someone behind me? It's kind of scary.
You always know that feeling when somebody's behind you. I mean, it's just like presence.
I get weirded out on stairs sometimes. You go up or down and you just feel like something's right behind
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I usually
And
skip
you're
a
thinking,
stair.
"Don't let him push me.
Yeah.
Or you're going up or down in the basement, especially, and you just hustle your ass up the stairs.
My room as a teenager was in the basement. I booked it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
No matter what.
Yep.
So he felt that feeling, and he looked over in the corner, and he saw a guy just standing there looking at him. He says, who the heck is this guy, and what's he doing here? So then he turned his eyes away for a second. When he looked back, he was gone. He said he was just staring at him like he was lost or something. And he said it was really surreal. He could hear the birds chirping, the kids playing. Everything just was normal.
Is that him calling us now? Don't talk about me.
So he shared his experience with his wife when she got home, and she had not experienced anything like that until about 2 weeks later. No, she was home alone. She was vacuuming, doing her housework. She had the radio turned way up, as we all do when we're vacuuming, so we could hear it. And everything was normal. And then all of a sudden, as she's looking down, she sees a pair of legs standing in the corner, the same corner that Bob had seen the guy.
Oh.
She said she just froze and stared at him. And then, it says, she did just see the legs. And then she froze in her tracks, stared at it. And then really slow, the rest of him started to show up.
Oh.
After a few seconds, she could see him plain as day. He was just an old man standing there looking at her. And he seemed to be more scared of her than she was of him. Anyway, so she ran to the neighbor's house till Bob got home. So he says Bob and Kay are good parents, and like any good parents, they want to protect their children from harm, so they did not tell their children about this ghost that's in the corner. And then one night, they were having family movie night. They were watching like a Disney comedy or something, and then all of a sudden, from the kitchen, every cabinet door started to slam. Like someone was opening them all up and banging them as loud as they could. Bob ran in there, but he didn't even get to the door before the noise stopped.
Wow.
That was only the beginning of the nightly racket coming from the kitchen. So every night between about 10 and 10:30, it would sound like someone was rummaging around in the kitchen, slamming cabinets, things like that.
So this ghost was on a schedule.
Yep, that's what it sounds like. So after a few nights of that, Bob decided he was going to hang out and see what happened. But if he was in the kitchen, nothing would happen. So eventually the kitchen kind of seemed to quiet down. But as the kitchen became quieter, new occurrences began to permeate the house. Kay said things would come up missing. Like sometimes her makeup or keys or earrings or something like that would just disappear. And usually it would just show up in some other part of the house after a while. And then one night, Kay said she woke up from a dead sleep in a cold sweat. She said for some reason she had the overwhelming urge to go downstairs. If she knew if she went down there, she'd see the old man again, but she couldn't shake the feeling that she just had to go.
Ugh.
So, I know, right? I'd be like, no.
I'm just going to stay here.
Yikes.
So she slipped out of bed, put on a robe, and headed down the stairs.
She didn't even wake her husband to go with her.
I don't know if he was
no
home. I don't know. So she passed into the living room, and she began to hear the familiar noises of someone rustling through the cupboards. Convinced the old man was rummaging around in there, she quietly sneaked toward the kitchen doorway. Believing she was out of view of the strange old man, she got the scare of her life when she suddenly realized he was standing next to her, quietly observing her from his favorite corner.
Oh.
Well, get away from that corner.
Right?
He's
Don't go
bound
to
to
his
just
corner.
pop up.
It's his. He's claimed it as his corner. Don't go there.
Well, she let out the huge scream, and so obviously it's not the same ghost in the kitchen. The old
So
man
there's
is-
another one now.
Yes. They're thinking that must just be another
What
ghost
happened
in
to
the
their
kitchen.
house?
Huh.
Then this author here, this Reverend Jerry Hunter, he asked them if he could come and stay the night. And he says, I must admit, a part of me couldn't wait for the mysterious man in the corner to appear, but a larger part of me would forgive him if he decided to forego his invitation.
Like, I want to, but...
I want to see it. No, I don't.
Yeah.
This is what I don't get, is because I don't know where they were waiting, because at about 10:30, noises began in the kitchen. Sounded like someone was rifling around. He had a recorder going and everything. When it quieted down, he rewound the recorder to verify what they all heard. The tape was blank.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So they heard it, but the tape didn't pick up anything.
Exactly. Which is usually the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually
Isn't
you
it?
don't hear it, and the tape picks
Yeah.
up everything.
That's what I
Yeah.
was waiting for. Like they heard the voices or something.
Huh.
Like the old man telling the whatever's banging the cupboards
Yeah.
to stop it or
This
something.
is my get out of here.
Damn
Yeah.
kids.
My line.
Get off my lawn.
Right.
Get out of my kitchen. Apparently, after his visit, the house just kind of returned to its usual scuttlebutt shenanigans. Oh, the kids finally caught sight of him. The daughter wanted to have some friends over for a sleepover. They were a little apprehensive about it.
Ghosts
But
love
they-
sleepovers, I think.
They do.
Ghosts love
They
sleepovers.
love that sort of thing.
They were apprehensive, but they decided, well, they can't take away their kids' fun. So they went ahead and the girls came over. They were doing what girls do, listening to music, playing games, eating pizza. Kay was in the kitchen getting their dinner ready when she heard one of the girls ask our daughter if that was her grandfather she saw standing in the corner. My heart just stopped in my chest, she said. I thought for sure we were going to have a major problem here. But my daughter just shrugged it off and nothing more was said until the next day. That's when she came to me and told me that this old man kept showing up in the living room watching them. I guess several of the girls caught glimpses of him, but oddly enough, they passed it off as one of our relatives. I wonder how old these girls are.
I was going to
You know,
say, if I would
wow.
have been over the age of like 7, I would have been like, what is happening?
Why is your
Weird.
relative see-through?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And why is he staring at us?
Like, I watched Casper. I know what ghosts are. Like, come on.
They really wanted to get rid of this spirit in their home.
Yeah.
So they picked up several ghosts dealing with, or several books.
What?
I was like, wait, what?
Picked up more ghosts
That
and
can't
brought 'em
be
home.
right.
Can you scare the old man out of here,
Yeah.
please?
And then you leave too.
And then all of you get out.
Oh, okay. They picked up several books about ghosts and the realm of the paranormal. One of them suggested an old Indian way of keeping spirits at bay, burning sage in the corners of every room, as well in the entryways and around the windows. They later followed the instructions, only to be awakened that night by the most severe kitchen cabinet pounding to date.
Ooh.
Really?
He said, "We decided that our ghosts don't much care for sage, and that we weren't going to take any more hints from any books." It says, as of this writing, the haunting of the Irwin house continues. Bob and Kay insist no old man and no slamming cabinet doors will run them out of their own home.
Yeah.
He says it gets quieter for a bit and then seems to pick up again. Right now it's quiet, and maybe it might just go away, but I doubt it.
Wow.
I thought that was.
I
pretty
suppose
cool
if it's not harming you, after a while you would just get used to it, kind of. Like, well, I guess.
No,
I think I probably would.
you would.
I
know
would.
you
Yeah,
would.
you'd have to be kind of chill in that area, and that would not be me.
I'd be better with just the old man. Like, the cabinet thing could
Yeah.
be done. Like, go away. But the
Yeah.
old man, I'd be totally fine with. I mean, he's
The
just
cabinet thing sounds a little violent.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
just makes me think of The Sixth Sense.
I was gonna say that's exactly what it reminds me of. Is
Yeah.
the Sixth Sense. Yeah.
I had a friend in college who was from Illinois and told a story about their house. They had a haunting, and one was an animal, a dog.
Oh.
Wow.
And then you would be sitting in the TV room, and as kids, you're sitting on the floor, and all of a sudden, a wet dog nose would be in your ear, you know, and you'd hear them make that snuffling little sound. You look, and there's
Oh,
nothing
dear
there.
God.
And one other time, he went into the kitchen to get a snack, and the refrigerator was open, and someone was bending in there. And all of a sudden, he's like, "You better not be eating that, blah, 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 whatever it is, because it was mine." And the person stood up, turned around, and it was his uncle who had died like 5 years ago, and went, "Okay," and was gone like that.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Isn't that
Who was
wild?
this?
A guy I went to college with.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Freaky.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'd be kind of. I would like enjoy it, like seeing like a relative.
If it was a relative.
Yeah, and it was just something like that. I would have
Yeah.
been like, oh my god, like it would have been like a special little moment.
Yeah.
I think.
Someone told me a story, and I thought it was my mom. I actually tried to confirm this with her today, but it was not her. But someone, when I was younger, mentioned something to me about a friend of theirs that they stayed with overnight, and they went to a concert or something, and it was a friend from work. They stayed with them at their house because it was closer to the venue, whatever. Anyway, the person said that to disregard the spoon or whatever, the ghost in the house, basically. They had a game. There was a ghost in their house that she had a coffee spoon that she didn't throw in the sink every day. It was something she used through for a couple days and then throw it in the sink and then get a new one, whatever.
Right.
Well, apparently this ghost would, when no one was in the kitchen, would pick the spoon up, not drop the spoon, would pick the spoon up and place it on the floor. And then when she'd go into the kitchen, it would just be on the floor. So then she'd pick it up, put it back, she'd leave, and it could be, 5 minutes or it could be a little while longer, and she'd come back and it'd be back on the floor. It was just a game.
Oh
It was
my
just a game for them.
gosh.
So it sounds like the old man in the corner.
Yeah.
He's just hanging out, and
Checking
this
out
ghost
things.
is just like, hey, I'm going to mess with your spoon. I
Oh.
cannot remember who told me that, though. So whoever that was, if you hear this, then thank you.
Right.
Wow. That's just creepy.
Thomas, thank you so much
Yes,
for
thank
coming
you,
and
Thomas.
joining
Yes.
us.
Of course, this was
Thanks for-
fun.
I've
Thanks
been
for
looking
telling us your
forward to-
stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you get more, you're welcome back again.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll
Start
look
hitting
into some
everybody
more.
up.
I like to fact check and make sure I have them right though. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually they didn't happen with just me, so there was usually someone else involved. But yeah, I'd be happy to come back. This
Definitely.
was fun. This was lots of fun.
Awesome.
Very cool.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for joining the group again.
Oh, I'm here sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. This was tons of fun.
Isn't it fun to sit around and talk about spooky stuff like
Mhm.
that? I enjoy it.
This is
Like
awesome.
spooky stuff.
All right. Well, until next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.